Something that fascinates me about Tower of God is the way it constructs the world around its characters, using them as benchmarks for its world building. You know, we start with Baam and Rachel, and these are two people who are outside of the tower and are relatively unaware of its scope, depth, and height. And all of this is meant to represent our own blind experience. When Baam enters the tower, he meets head-on the administrator, Yuri, a princess of Jihad. Rock, a walking, talking crocodile who calls everyone else turtles and has an addiction to chocolate bars. And then there's Aguero, whose family name sounds like a slur for some reason. But the point is, each character serves their purpose, whether they be an average Joe Schmo regular, someone from the 10 great families, or an irregular. They expand upon this living, breathing universe, giving context to the system that is the tower. And just like the natural order, the tower follows a simple set of laws regarding the survival of the fittest, where only those who have the skills, ability, or luck to survive will end up climbing to the higher levels of the system. This constructed a cutthroat game of cat and mouse, where people prey on the downfall of their enemies, and just as they regard and revere strength, they also fear and envy it. So it begs the question, how does someone with no luck, strength, or skills supposed to climb the tower and confront this despair? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. If you can't climb to a higher level on your own, then you can use others as stepping stones. Just take the Blackbeard approach and cheat, manipulate, and kill in order to win. If you don't have legs, make someone become your legs. If you don't have arms, find someone else to fight your battles. The first rule of the tower is that there isn't any rules. It's the Jihad philosophy, where to reach the next floor means standing above others beneath you. Making sacrifices is all part of the game. To the god of the tower, being the king means erasing the people around you, starting with those who are most distant and hostile towards you, and following this path means ultimately erasing those who are closer to you. And then finally, you erase the person you love the most when you are alone in this world, and when you shine alone in that dark light. That is the person who is fated to become the king. It's an interesting duality, because Baam, like Jihad, is that same bright, shining star. In fact, just taking Baam's name at face value, it means night in Korean. But Baam never saw it that way. To him, Rachel was the embodiment of that shining star brightening up his dark and lonely world, while Rachel simply came to view him as a darkness consuming her light. Baam didn't have any desires, just a great obsession to stand by Rachel's side, while Rachel was all but filled with desires, and Baam trounced on each one of them. Before joining Fug as the Slayer candidate, Baam ends his journey exactly where he started, back in that dark abyss, ironically living that Jihad lifestyle. Which makes it even more curious, because it almost seems like the person that Baam is at the bottom of the tower is the exact same person that Jihad is at the top of the tower, reinforcing the message that Wangnan said that the only difference between those at the 20th floor versus those at the higher levels is their mindset. As the Slayer candidate, Baam, or now recognized as Jovial Grace, is in a position where he can't get close to anyone. Kindness is weakness, deceit and lies are power, and as a black hole consuming everything, he's more of a natural disaster than a person. Living in isolation for 6 years, manipulated by higher powers, and having his friends used as leverage in the process, Baam had no other option but to become a living weapon. Now, the icy cold sting of Rachel's betrayal still haunts his soul, but he was far more defeated over his own uselessness that forced him into the position that he is in now. Perhaps if he was stronger, he could have rewrote his fate, and if only he had the power of a god, he could save and protect those who are precious to him. But in order to attain the power of a god, that sometimes means you have to make a deal with the devil, which is how Baam aligns himself with Fug, who are basically messengers delivering Jihad's death sentence. In those 6 years, that naive Baam was erased. He matured, came to realize the ways of the tower, and his innocent eyes were muddied with a system that's built off the back of the oppressed. So when we enter the 20th floor following Wangnan as our new protagonist, taking the floor exam to become an E-rank regular, and he confronts Jovial Grace, it's all setting the stage for this difference in mindset. We got Wangnan representing the average regular versus the Slayer candidate who's trained by ancient rankers, and an irregular who negates the laws of the tower. A person who can adapt and overcome any circumstances before him alone, and grant the wishes of many. Jovial Grace, or the 25th Baam, the strongest regular. But in a sense, his power isn't something to be admired or envied, but pitied. Because when we witness Baam in his current state, he's sadder and more depressed than he's ever been in his life. That's the tragedy of the tower in a nutshell. Power doesn't give you what you want. When you get to the top, you forget why you climbed in the first place, and in the end, you're just a cog in the system. Gaining strength did nothing for Baam. Becoming a human weapon just brought him more sorrow and turned him into a puppet. He's so deluded and traumatized by his past, and he fears that he cannot move forward. And reflecting King Jahat himself, what's the point of unrivaled strength if you exist with unrivaled loneliness?